Hello, welcome back to my journal entry. Today I'm going to just be kind of talking on the topic of the ecological approach in Jiu-Jitsu, and I'm going to talk from the point of view as a kids coach. So right now I have a kids program, and I'm the head coach, and I'm responsible for, building the classrooms, handing out belts, and everything that goes with anything that's directly related to the kids' development in the Jiu-Jitsu program. The main approach I'm taking right now is going to be the ecological approach, which just assumes that, hey, we're in an environment where perception is direct. That just means if it looks like I can do something, I just do it, and I don't have to think about how to do it. There's no cognition in between the perception and the action. I just simply perceive something, and then I just act on it. You act to perceive, and you perceive to act. There is no thinking about how to apply. Second, things I like to do in my classroom to make things run easier are I play pinning situations and guard situations every day. I have created a culture where if we're doing submissions, we're doing it as slow as we can. And the second thing of the culture is we should always be actively trying to win. And by win, I mean accomplish the task, the outcome. How many different ways can we accomplish this outcome? That's what I'm looking for. I don't encourage my kids to let other people win or to give them an easy round. I encourage you to do your best so we can get the most out of this development we're trying to accomplish here. So, how do I like to create these games to develop skill, and what are some things that have held me back mentally from helping the athletes? The first thing I've noticed is you have a tendency to, as a coach, to judge yourself when I switch between the information processing to the ecological processing, the ecological approach. One thing I mainly struggled with was how it actually looks. Okay, the aesthetic focus, that was a big struggle for me, right? We're going from a process where, hey, the entire classroom's doing something in a way we perceive to be correct for this move today, and it all looks good. Every kid's doing the same thing, and it's very clear how to help everyone. But now you're in an ecological approach where you assume self-organization, you give them the benefit of the doubt that they can do this, and you create these games, and they can look extremely chaotic and messy. But what I'm looking for is development, not performance. Can they do the sport? The sport is our body controlling another body, if it's no gi. And if it's gi, it's how can I use all this cloth around my partner to help and or aid my ability to control you, your body. I want to strangle or break you by immobilizing you. That makes it easier. How do we get good at that? And there's this quote: you want to practice like the environment you are going to perform in. If you hear this quote, you immediately like, wow, that sounds so awesome. And it is. But then, if you're in the eco approach, then it's obvious that that's what we're doing here. Okay? I'm creating, when you're in the eco approach, you're going to create an environment for your athletes in where they're doing the sport. And I'd like to do this by creating games with a constraint approach. And when we're using the constraints, I'm trying to manipulate two things for these athletes. I'm trying to manipulate their intentions and their attentions. How do we do this? The first thing is you have to understand what is actually happening. And I like to think about this in the terms of effects on the other person, the other player. What effect am I having onto them? If I am on top, am I staying on top and holding you down? Then good. You are slowly becoming more effective. Are you finding ways to be effective? Good. Now, the grappling gets so much more simpler, but it doesn't get easier. It's just as hard, but now it's clear where to aim. We need to aim them. They already got it. They can just do it. Your technique is already perfect. You just have to calibrate yourself. They have to have calibration to the environment. Okay? Because how are they supposed to adapt if there's no change? So we're adding noise to this environment. We're making it chaotic and hectic so they can find that signal on how to be effective. So an example would be, hey guys, we're going to play a guard game today. Bottom player, you get to start belly up and open guard. You have to stay on your back. Your only goal down there is to make and maintain connections and control the distance. That's your only goal. Good. Y'all understand? They'd be like, yes or no, or they have questions. And I'd be like, hey, top player, your goal is to get past the guard, which is just the legs, to hug the hips. That's our goal. But that's the intention. Now, our attention is going to be, hey, top player, I want you to focus on controlling the feet and never letting them touch you. That's the intention, okay? So top player's goal is to grab the hips. Bottom player's goal is to make and maintain connections. Now, I have this attention focus for the top player, which is to remove bottom player's connections and control them. That creates a zero sum where the bottom player's intention conflicts with the top player's attention. And now, while they're playing this game, they're going to perceive opportunities to act to go grab the hips. They're going to try to. They might start by grabbing the feet and throwing them out of the way and perceiving the chance to grab the hips. But the kid on the bottom is like, oh, I need to make connections, and they turn back and make connections. So you just calibrate it a little bit. You know, you might not know what happened, but you're calibrating. It's like, okay, this time they throw the feet the other way, and they let go of them. They stop controlling them. The bottom player brings the feet back in, and they miss their opportunity to act on what they perceived. But now they're like, I'm never letting go of those feet. I'm going to be extra stubborn. And now they're grabbing the hips. Okay? We want to find ways in which they can just do the thing. I have no interest in if any of my athletes can explain to me how they're moving their body, if they can tell me where they are in space. I am only looking for one or two things here. I'm looking for mainly, is there attention on the task I set? Are they focusing on grabbing the feet and controlling them? If that's happening, then good. If it's not happening, pat and interrupt. Hey, little Johnny, I didn't know that's what grabbing the feet looked like. You know, you just make him think. And, you know, if you tell him once or twice he doesn't think, then little Johnny can just have a bad day today. Or a I don't know how you would, just less effective day in skill development. Or, because they're going to do whatever they want. And then the second thing is, are they getting to the correct outcome? Okay? Effectiveness and efficiency are slightly hand in hand, but you can't fix problems that haven't occurred. So if they're getting to the hips every single time, but it's taking 4 minutes every time they do it, congratulations, you're finding a way to calibrate your system. But say the goal was to get there within 2 minutes, then it wouldn't be effective. So you just got to be aware of your environment you're in, and you know, we're hoping that in 6 months to a year and 6 months that they're going to be more effective, and they're finding more efficient solutions sooner and sooner and sooner, and nothing phases them. Okay? Nothing new phases them. They've experienced all this chaos, they've experienced all these positions, and their body knows the feeling. They know what it feels like to do the thing, to hold the leg, to hold the knee, to do the thing against someone who's trying to stop you. They have the feeling, okay? Your technique is already perfect. You just have to calibrate it. Calibrate your attention to what we should focus on. In all of these areas, there's something that's going to give you 80% of your results, and I want you to figure out what that is and ask, why do we do these things to accomplish this effect? If I'm getting leg locked, right now, personally, for my journey, 80% of what I do to stop it is just unlock their feet off my hip and don't let them connect to my hip. Now, they still have my ankle or heel or knee or toe hold, and it still kind of hurts a little bit, but it's not going to break. And it's not going to be as effective if they did have that connection. So those are things I'm always thinking about are, where should I be aiming? What am I aiming for? And how do I focus on that? Are you on top of someone? Can you stay on top and hold them down? If not, you are missing out on 80% of what we're trying to do. Okay. And another thing I struggled with a lot is, like I was saying earlier, the aesthetic issue is that from an outside view, we are going to perceive differently than someone who is in the environment, okay? You are affected by everything. Your mood, how you ate, what you slept, how you showered, how tired you are. Did you have a nap 2 hours ago? Is this person stronger than you? Are they weaker than you? Are they bigger than you? Are they smaller than you? Are they longer? Are they shorter? All of these things are going to change that athlete's individual perception, right? Some athletes struggle to even, in the guard game, to even hold on to the leg. Holding on to a leg is hard for some people. And it's still hard for me. On certain people, it's hard to hold their legs. They're good at not letting their legs be held. So they might not be perceiving the same actions as you, or it might not look good. It might look extremely ugly, but be extremely effective. Now, it is your job as a coach to, manage their attractors and how they're seeing, what opportunities they're seeing, and if they should act on those opportunities, and if they're finding some sort of pattern or solution that's going to be ineffective in the long term, just let it be, because eventually there'll be a way to disrupt it. But if they're getting some sort of attractor that's dangerous, or is just completely like the wrong idea, which I'm not sure where that would occur, you would have to address that then. Now, the second thing is going to be our language and how we talk to them. You have to be clear in what you are asking them to do. Okay? Most kids aren't going to listen to everything you say. Okay? They're going to listen to the very last thing you just said. And they're going to be watching what you're doing. So I highly recommend modeling the games and showing them what the game looks like. But just be aware that if you model the game, you are naturally going to create a tendency for them to do what you did. Now, are they actually going to do it is a whole other question. But that's a way of constraining the environment, is showing them different ways to escape. Over constraining is a common thing, where you have a game where there's no zero sum, and we have like a standing game where, hey guys, we're going to start completely neutral standing up. You can only do foot sweeps. You might have some sort of like rugby lockup where, hey, both of our feet are the farthest away they could be from each other. Like, how do we hit a foot sweep here? I don't know. Maybe that game's not over constrained, but I do feel like it would be overly constrained, because the main goal of the stand up is to get the hip down to the floor. So I'm not, and there's obviously there can be different ways to explore that. But yeah, that's all. This video's starting to get a little bit long, so I'm gonna cut it off here. If you have any feedback or anything, or any comments or questions about what I talked about, just feel free to leave a comment and I'll answer it and get back to you, or maybe try to point you in a direction that's a little bit more informed than me, because I'm still kind of new to this approach, and a lot of it makes sense up here in my head, and talking about it out loud is only developing me further. But I always recommend, if you are interested in the eco approach, the best thing you could do is start it. That's ecologically teach yourself eco. I mean, that sounds weird, But how are you supposed to get good at it if you never actually try to put yourself in that environment to do it? Yeah. So, yeah, I'm out. Have a good one.